Hi everyone, this is Heather from weddingsbyheather.com, and I am here with my very good friend Maura today from Pics by Chicks.
Hi everyone.
Welcome.
Oh, hi.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Shoulders back.
Shoulders back. Watch your posture.
Bring that chin forward.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Nervous, but excited.
No, don't be nervous.
I'm nervous.
They're a friendly group.
I know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I see things and comment on things here and there, but
You're very helpful. I noticed the other day you were helping someone.
Oh yeah, Lightroom is I love my Lightroom.
And the reason I have you here, besides I want to ask you a bunch of questions, is because I really feel very strongly that people need to know who you are.
Well, I mean,
because
I'm on my way to being famous.
Yeah,
no, I mean, like I'm saying that as a
kind
joke.
of a big deal, right? But the reason I think that is because you're amazing at what you do. You're killing it in your market, and your clients know you, but photographers don't know you. So I'm trying to get you to network a little bit more so they know who you are.
Yes.
So it's really important to me that people understand. To photographers, I feel like you're like a dark horse. Like they don't know you're there, and you're just galloping. And then you're just winning.
Now I'm gonna have dreams tonight of me on a
dark
horse.
You are the dark horse. Hey, can you ladies hear us okay? Let's just do an audio check real quick.
I'm not used to this sophisticated technology with like my live videos when I'm not with you or like the phone.
The lav mic really helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
they're hello. And they're only like $20 on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
So they're pretty good. Thank you, Erin, for that. Okay. Would you please tell everyone what your business is, what your style is, your genre, all that?
So I'm Pics by Chicks Photography. Chick, I'm Maura Chick. I am a boudoir photographer. I do some weddings mixed in here and there, but I am boudoir, and that's my primary focus at this point. And my style, I would say, for boudoir, I'm very classy and tasteful and elegant. I don't know if I'm saying this the right way, but I'm not trashy with my photos. I like to keep it very, it's clean. And my focus is on my client, not on like other things in the photos. Yeah. So, classy, elegant.
But you haven't always been just boudoir. How did you make that transition to focus just on boudoir?
Well, I mean, my history. So our wedding photos were crap when I got married. Yeah, I know you probably hear that often, don't you? It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
My wedding photographer is no longer in business. I don't ever really tell anybody what her name was, but she's not in business anymore. My husband, who has a degree in photography from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, walked down the stairs one day and he said, "We could have done a better job. Let's be photographers." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, no, we like just taking photos. It's very different to like to take photos and then transition into like being a photographer and trying to pose people. And, like, that's completely different. So I knew that I needed to, as soon as like he was like, "Let's start a business," and he was serious about it, I'm like, well, I need to up my game, because he's very mathematical about things. He likes the math in photography, so he would talk to me like f2.8 at ISO 600 is the same as, and I'm like, what? Just tell me how to shoot this. So I found you.
How did you find me?
Google, baby.
That blows my mind, which means I'm very happy, because that means my SEO is working. If someone finds me in Google and books an appointment, I'm like, man, that's working. But you were at this time working a corporate job.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. Corporate job. Yeah. I knew I needed the money from the corporate job, because when I started, I didn't feel like photography was going to be something I was going to do full time. It was just something on the side that we would like to do. But I knew I needed to get some education and figure out how to actually take a good photo. I mean, let's be honest. They were not in focus. Let's just put it out there.
Sometimes,
but you would be like, "Oh, that's so good." And we were just recently looking back at those photos, and I was like, "How did you not tell me to just?" Well,
here's what I focused on. Here's what I did: is I would tell her, "I think there's a few things we need to work on." Like pressing the shutter button?
That little square in the middle.
That's how you focus.
So I knew I needed like investment in my education, and I thought maybe I'll take a CCBC class, but I knew that I was going to get further if I did one-on-one mentoring. So that was something that in December 2012, I was like, I need this now. And I need you. And we've talked before where you kind of get to a point where it's either you have time or money. So it's like, do you have time to invest in like looking at videos online all the time.
And
like,
searching through them. And, yeah.
Looking at junk that doesn't even like, I remember spending money on stuff that I was like, this workshop was terrible. I mean, it was like this stupid thing that don't ever buy anything from Living Social.
That's a clue.
It was like a Living Social, like learn photography, and it was like crap. But then I knew that I had money to invest in my education, and I knew I needed somebody who had experience. And, you know, at that time I thought, well, like, that's what I thought. People just photograph weddings. And I thought that's how I needed to make money, which is not the case anymore.
No.
But, so I had the money to invest, and I, you know, I had to make a choice, time or money, and
you chose money.
I chose money. We make a joke all the time where you had a direct line into my bank account.
It was pretty nice.
It was nice for
you,
wasn't it?
Yeah. That started in December of 2012, and we met at least once a week for 2 or 3 years?
Yes, I know. Yeah, see, I invested a lot of money.
A lot of money and a lot of time, and that was at minimum. We were doing 1 hour a week. Sometimes it was more than that. We were doing shoots.
Yeah, we were doing shoots. Yeah, I mean, I really spent a lot of time learning how to, like, I mean, in the beginning, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. My photos were crap. I mean, and you know, we have talked recently, like I always like to look back at myself and be like, because I really don't like to compare myself to others. I compare it to who I was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, because that's who I really want to be growing from. But I knew that I needed to learn because it was terrible. No one, I mean.
But did you know it was terrible even at the time?
I don't think so, but I knew it wasn't as good as it could be.
Yeah.
And I would look at photos and be like, how do I make it better? Like, just something was not right for me. So it was a long time where I was like, I had a good like 5 or 6 months where I was turning down jobs. Like, people were like, Maura, can you take photos of this? Can you? And I know you would yell at me for this, but I would be like, no.
But hold on, back up. So how did you get your first clients, or what were you shooting that people were like, can you take my photo? Like, how did they even know that
I knew that I needed to start with people I knew. And this was before I even knew what boudoir was, because that's different when you're trying to get your first boudoir client. You have to be like, could you come take your clothes off?
Yeah, that's more challenging for sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah. So I was involved in the youth group at my church. So I knew a lot of the young girls from church. And I was like, let me take your photo. Let me take your photo. Let's just go out, do your hair and makeup real nice one day. We'll go out, have some fun. And I just wanted to practice writing, getting out there, shooting all the time with these girls that I knew. And then I knew, like, and I was connecting with their parents as well. So it was like I was getting the girls and their parents. So
this was all for free.
All for free. I wasn't taking any money. If people would come to me and ask me to do things, like, the church is like, can you come take a photo of this? I'd be like, no, it had to be on my terms. Like, if I was going to shoot something, it needed to be what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it, because I was not ready to like charge people and take money. I just knew for me personally that like I couldn't take people's money at that point.
You just weren't comfortable.
I couldn't, and I know, you know, you would probably yell at me.
Well, if they want to pay you.
If they want to pay you, but I would be like, no, I would turn down jobs. Like, I was not ready for it at all. But it took a good 6 months to kind of like get me to a point where I was like, okay, I'm comfortable.
So these people are asking over this period of time, and then finally you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'll take your photo. Like, I'll allow you to hire me.
Yes.
How much are you charging?
Oh gosh, do we really want to admit that? Okay, so when my first paying photo shoot, again, this was like 6. Do I keep going? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So 6 months of practice. My first paying photo shoot was on location at this family's house. 3 children. I was there for 2 hours. I gave them 100 and some images. I mean, I edited them.
Yeah, so plus your editing time.
And I gave them a USB drive with the images. I charged them $60.
Killing it.
I was killing it back then.
You have to start somewhere.
But I learned quickly that like that kind of like price was not going to work for me.
Right.
If I wanted to be a photographer, I had to like man up and actually charge some decent money for my time, and you know, and then like 2 months later, I figured out the package, the session fees and packages that I still have now.
Right.
So it's something that I figured out quickly, and it has stuck with me. So it's not like I had a lot of clientele in the beginning that was like, I'm not willing to pay your price, because then I quickly learned how. But you know, that first client came back to me 8 months later and was like, it's time for fall photos. And when I showed her my new pricing,
not so much.
Not so much,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean, I'm not
Right.
I'm not for everybody. I
Right.
mean, there's always someone that's going to be more expensive than me, and there's always going to be someone that's cheaper than me.
Yes.
But I'm where I am in my zone, and I have
Yes.
clients that are willing to pay my price.
So that's all that matters.
Now, if you ask me how I got my first boudoir,
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
But before we get to that, so this is 2013 because we met at the end of 2012.
Yes.
When I met you, you're working a corporate job. You're doing very well. Very, very high-paying corporate job. I'm just going to slide that in there. And you were thinking, I'm just going to do this on the side.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any intentions
Like, it's
of
just
like.
for fun.
I like taking photos. I like working with people. Like, oh, we could make some extra money.
Right.
My husband wasn't working at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'm smart, Maura. I was like, I'll take on 2 full-time jobs.
Right.
So, yeah, it was just something we were doing on the side. I never thought it would be a career.
So at what point did you start to get an inkling of, wait a minute, I could make some money and maybe leave my job?
I think after I had my first boudoir, I was like, I'm hooked. Like, I need to do this. And I could see, you know, just things happening in sessions that I was like, you know, like, this is what I should be doing, not this, like, stupid corporate job that I ended up hating. But
Right.
I knew pretty early on then, like, that this was something that I needed to pursue for me, like, personally. Like, I really feel like I'm called to this job.
Yes.
And that, like, I have to give this experience to women. Like, I have to. There's no
Like, you
other...
can't even help it. You
like,
can't
I
fight
can't.
it. Yeah, right.
So I remember sitting here in June of 2013.
All right, so we're about 6 months in.
Yes. And I mean, it was only like, what, 2 months after my like first paying shoot. God.
Yeah.
I said, we wrote on a piece of paper, like, what are like my ultimate goals?
Yes.
And so August 2014 was ask for a demotion because I hated my management job. And I thought, well, just
If you could do
be an
that,
employee.
yeah.
I don't want to
Right.
take the responsibility for everything. Ask for a demotion. And then August 2015, I would quit.
Right. And please tell the people, when did you end up quitting your job?
Well, I gave my notice in October of 2014 that I was quitting in November of 2014. So I was like, you know, a year ahead of schedule.
A year ahead of schedule.
I when we actually wrote that out, I taped it up to my wall.
Yes.
And I looked at it, I mean, 20 times a day. And it was getting in my head,
Yeah,
like looking at
constant,
it.
yeah.
Demotion, quit. Like, it's in the head constantly.
Yeah.
And so it's getting into my subconscious.
Yes.
And I think that's what triggered, like, it's just like I could see what I needed to do. And I had to work. I mean, it got hard.
It did get hard. There were
you
tears.
told me, a
Yeah.
lot of tears.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets hard. You used to say it's going to get harder before it gets better.
I always
And that
say
is
that.
honest to God the truth
Yes.
about it all. But
I said, buckle your seatbelt.
it's
Yeah.
going to get hard, baby.
Yeah.
So then
But wait, how did you get that first boudoir? Because, I mean, getting the first family or even the first wedding, you know, somebody's looking for a photographer, they
Right.
can't afford a real one, so they'll let you shoot their wedding for...
because we're not real
Right,
photographers.
we weren't, at least not then, we weren't real. But how do you get that first boudoir? Because
Well, that's hard, right? So I really wanted to just try to see if I could do it.
Yes.
Like, I took a workshop from you. And
yeah,
I'm
we
like,
had that boudoir workshop.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, let me just try to see if I could do it. And I had a friend of mine come. I'm like, please let me just, I know she was struggling with her self-confidence. And I'm like, let me just, and she wasn't like, you know, I know some photographers with the boudoir would probably start with a like small, skinny girl, so it's easier.
Yes.
But I was like, no, give me the most challenging body type and I'll take it. So I
Give
think
me a
she
real
was, yeah,
person.
she was like a size 12. And I was like, come in, we'll do hair and makeup, and you know, we'll just do a photo shoot. And so she was like, okay, but you're not sharing these photos anywhere. And I was like,
Oh, here we go.
no, because it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
how can I don't like my clients to feel like, okay, you're going to go share my photos. No. So I was very respectful of that. I said, no, I'm not going to share your photos. Like, I just want to make
was
sure I
practice.
could do this,
Yeah.
you know?
Were you charging her or no?
No, I did not charge
Yeah.
her. And truth be told, I gave her an album too. I know.
So you basically
I know.
paid her.
I basically paid her to come do a photo shoot. Great.
You got to start
I'm
somewhere.
winning. It gets better.
Thank goodness.
we do
Right.
get better here. So she came and I had an amazing time. I mean, it was just seeing her transformation and what happened to her. Confidence was
Yeah.
like, it was almost addicting for me. I'm like, I need to wait.
Yeah,
I had a part in this. And so I was like, this is it. So she came in and I didn't get to share any of her photos, but then I decided, like, I bartered with my hair and makeup artist they exchanged hair and makeup for boudoir shoots for themselves, because one was getting married and one had an anniversary coming up. And I'm like, okay, hey, more practice for me.
Right.
So I had them come in for their shoots and they let me share photos. So once I started talking about it, it just kind of like little by little by little, like everything has just kind of like.
But it started kind of with those three.
Those three, yeah. I mean, that's all it took was three.
And
it wasn't like, you know, we talk about clients, they get clients, and clients are going to talk about you. Boudoir is something I feel like sometimes people are afraid to talk about, like, oh, I had this amazing shoot.
Right.
I don't think in my mind, when I look back on it now, that those three clients were talking and talking and talking and talking. It was me.
It was you
talking and talking and talking.
Right. It had to be.
And telling people and like doing this and putting it out there, like, this is what I'm doing. Oh, you know, showing pictures of lingerie that I'm shooting. Like, I was making sure that people knew what I was about. Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't waiting on someone else to be like, "Oh, can you go promote my business?" No. Right. If I want to be a business owner, I got to man up and do it myself. So.
You had, you know, now that we can look back and I can see it, what I noticed about you was you were super focused.
Yeah.
You laser locked on that boudoir and you made it happen. Yes. It was clarity. You had clarity.
Yeah. I mean, that was like total like tunnel vision for me. Like, and I would sit here and be like, I don't have there's nothing else for me. Like, this is it. And I would show you sessions and I would be like, this is it. Like, this is all
you knew right from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it was something I knew I needed to work on.
But you were still doing, and you still are to some degree. Yeah. Some families, some weddings.
Some families. I mean, families now. No, if anyone wants my family referrals, let me know. Send them to
There's not a lot of people that love.
Trouble with the dads who don't want to get rid of their cell phone, and then the babies that don't. Enough to pay attention. It's just challenging. I mean, some people would say that about boudoir though too. I mean, because it's not easy. You got to know every different body type and how to pose and work with people. I mean, it's not something you can just kind of pick up and do. But
that's how you got your first client.
That's my first client.
And then
clients and then
you were,
you know, then I started to get people that are like, oh, I found you through Google, which it's working. I knew that I was. Like when clients started coming in that I didn't personally know or like were just finding me organically, I was like, okay, I got it. And I knew I was doing it correctly.
Right. So you were getting really busy with your photography business. The stress at work was, and then you asked them, well, you told them your plans.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, they were like, no.
No.
Yeah. No, you're not leaving. And they threw money at you.
Yeah, they threw a ton of money at me. I mean, I walked away from a lot of money.
Let's just say she walked away from a 6-figure job, but that's not even really the half of it because when she went to leave, they were throwing money at her.
Yeah.
And it was insane amounts of money.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. And we had a lot of very serious discussions about like, okay,
do I just say like when is enough enough?
When is enough
enough?
Money
doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It's like my happiness is not based on the amount of money you're going to throw at me. It can't be. Because you could throw out $50,000 at me and I would have been like, no. Because like my boss was actually like, wait, I just gave you, like, I'm going to give you this ton of money. Why don't you want to stay? Yeah. And I was like,
They were perplexed by this because who wouldn't take it? I mean, but they were sucking your soul.
Yeah, they were.
And there was no money.
It was evil.
Right.
So listen, corporate America is great. There are a lot of people that have great careers. It was not when I found my passion and like something that I knew I was like called to do. Like I truly feel that this is my calling in life. That I couldn't focus on anything else. And I remember I would cry to you all the time.
There were a lot of tears.
Like, I just can't do this. I would get in these meetings and be yelled at by clients. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to go do my photos. I just want to do photos, and I had a good setup where I got to work from home too.
You did.
So, I could do boudoir shoots during the day, during the week. And
you actually had like the ideal setup. 6 figures.
I'm almost going to get red thinking about it.
And I was like, I'll take the job. No, because it was sucking your soul. So you decide you're going to leave, and then we were working together to balance this. How much do you take from them and sort of milk it? Get what you can, for sure. Get what you can, right? And you ended up leaving, was it January?
It was February 10th of 2015 was when I finally just decided to be like, okay, no amount of money you can throw at me is going to make me happy. And they kept trying, and I just kept saying no. So I knew I was pretty strong in my foundation and like that this was it for me. So I wasn't worried about money not coming in. I knew that, I had a supportive husband who was working hard to carry our health insurance because that's important.
Yeah.
But
you knew you'd figure it out.
I knew I would. I was strong enough in myself and my abilities to be able to
It's
make
still
it work.
a risky move.
Yeah, it's not, I struggle a lot. Like someone asked me once, like, what did you have to give up to pursue your passion career?
That's a good question. I should write that.
Yeah, that needs to be on your list of
Right,
questions.
I'm gonna get that.
I don't have a personal life. I really, like, I gave up.
You work a lot.
Yeah, I work a lot. I gave up the consistency of paychecks every 2 weeks. I mean, nobody really thinks about how hard it is not to get paid every 2 weeks.
That was a big deal.
That's huge.
Yeah, I remember thinking that for you because we had talked about it, and I said, "Are you prepared to be poor for a little while as you ramp up?" No, who wants to think that? Okay, but poor in finances, rich in spirit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. There's a
happy.
trade-off.
There's a
Yeah.
trade-off. But I thought I was nervous for you. I was nervous when that auto deposit stopped.
Yeah.
Because you're the primary breadwinner. I mean, Tony has the insurance, but you're the breadwinner. And I was like, okay, are you ready for this? They're about
It was
to pull the
hard.
plug.
I mean, I'm gonna have to say for like a good 6 months, I was like, this is all hard. Like I can't take it. So, but you know, I've gotten used to the inconsistency. I mean, I do take a paycheck every 2 weeks now, but it's still difficult, you know, when you think about like, oh my gosh, my paycheck now depends on my clients. And that actually motivates me to give killer service because I know that those clients are going to talk about me and tell people about me. So.
So if you want to make more money, you work harder. And if you want to take a break, you take a day off. I mean but it's all in your court.
It's And you know, I probably go overboard in scheduling and doing stuff, but I just feel like every last minute I can get, I need to do it.
Okay, I'm going to sort of shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
A lot of photographers comment about the oversaturation in the market.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure I believe it. I read a quote recently that I love, and it's I think, and I'm paraphrasing this, might not actually be a direct quote, but you are the only you, and that is your superpower. That's your power. And I just felt like, you know, we all started somewhere. Like I picked up a camera and thought, I could be a photographer. I mean, like we all do it. So I think there's a market for everybody. There's market for the newbies. There's market for the extreme professionals, and there are clients everywhere.
For everyone.
And I mean, let's face it. We're in Western PA. We can get the Ohio crowd. We can get the Erie crowd. We can get some of the West Virginia crowds. I think there's a huge market for us in this area, and I don't think, you know, we're saturated as much as people want to believe we are. And you know, at the end of the day, if someone isn't good enough, I guess they're not going to last. Like my wedding photographer is no longer a photographer. Yeah,
it's a revolving door.
So
I've seen a lot.
You know, you can see people that like are going to have longevity, and I think you can point that out. But I don't really think there's a lot of saturation. I think you have to work hard for what you want and the clients you want, and making sure you're finding those target clients.
Have you ever had trouble getting clients?
I mean, I've had maybe some lulls in booking, but I actually look at myself and think like, what am I doing wrong that I'm not getting clients? I don't ever think like, oh, the economy's bad. Like, listen, let's face it. I am in a luxury business. Like, people don't need boudoir photos.
So you ask yourself, what is
my role in not booking right now? And you know, I can sit down and think like, okay, I'm not out there doing things. I'm not talking about it. I'm not on Facebook doing this, and I'm not on Instagram doing that. You